How to invest in the stock market using eToro, online money making. Fancy yourself as the next Warren Buffett. Unlock the new world of social trading with our complete guide to investing and copying top traders on eToro. I've always had an interest in the financial markets, but, like most of us, I had no real idea how to break through the castle walls and actually trade. The gatekeepers of Wall St. and the city have forever been committed to keeping the masses at bay so they can charge their hefty trading fees. The Wolf of Wall Street, true story. That all changed about a year ago. I was a final year student and came across a platform called eToro which blew open the doors and allowed me to start trading online. eToro is up to 20 times cheaper than traditional stockbrokers, with 0% commission on real stocks. My performance over the past year. Past performance is not an indication of future results. Trading history presented as less than 5 complete years and may not suffice as basis for investment decision. This is not investment advice. Well, actually it's not all that straightforward. It's important for you to know that I have been on quite a learning curve. Whilst I've been enjoying the whole experience, I've also made some rookie mistakes. For total beginners, the eToro platform and the concept of trading itself can be a little daunting at first. So with the benefit of hindsight and my own personal trading experience on eToro, I wanted to put together a comprehensive no-nonsense guide to help others get the best results as quickly as possible. And here it is. eToro would describe themselves as an accessible trading platform that incorporates a social element into investing. I'd describe them as Facebook for trading. They first went live in 2006, and are now the world's largest investment network with a community of 4.5 million users. The platform and the wider phenomenon of social investing have been widely covered by mainstream media, including a recent BBC documentary called Traders, Millions by the Minute. The most unique feature of eToro is probably CopyTrader. This allows you to sort through other users and plainly see their trading history, including how much they have made or lost over any given period. If you find someone you like the look of, you can allocate some funds to automatically copy their trades. Another big plus is the Popular Investors program. This rewards users based on how many copiers they have in the form of monthly commission. The program also incentivizes responsible trading, and we'll discuss this in more depth towards the end of the guide. So with the social and copying features, you'll certainly learn a great deal relatively quickly. Most of the need-to-knows you'll pick up by reading this guide or playing with a demo account. Take it easy at the start and make sure you know what you're doing before investing larger amounts of money. Trading on eToro can be very profitable, but it's important to note that whenever you're dealing with the markets, you can lose money too. Your capital is at risk. No lengthy paperwork here. It's free and really very straightforward. Simply enter your details and choose a username. They ask for a phone number to protect your account's security. You've now opened up the world of real-time trading. But to actually make trades, you'll be prompted to complete your profile. Slightly smiling face. 75% of retail investor accounts lose money when trading. CFDs with this provider. You should consider whether you can afford to take the high risk of losing your money. This content is intended for information and educational purposes only and should not be considered investment advice or recommendation. CFDs are a type of leveraged product that we do not recommend in this guide. We are concentrating on buying and holding actual stocks you own. The first part covers basic personal information. You don't need to enter an identification number if you're unsure. Next, there are a couple of trading experience questions. It's not a test, so don't worry too much about the answers. Just try and be honest. Note, eToro's main currency is $USD, but you can deposit in pound GBP and other major currencies. It will be converted to $USD in your account. I'll just give you a very quick overview of the main sections of eToro for now. We'll delve more into each one later as I explain how to browse and trade in detail. Organize the people and markets you're interested in copying or investing in. You can create multiple lists, such as promising stocks, or people to copy. The nerve center of your investment journey. View all your open trades with live tickers and values. And monitor your performance. This is just like your news feed on Facebook, where you can see everything the traders you follow have been doing and saying recently. The place to research and trade in the markets available to you: stocks, e.g. Apple; currencies, e.g. GBP, USD; commodities, e.g. gold; and indices, e.g. UK 100, and ETFs. The heart of the community. Search through other traders who you may want to copy or follow. There are loads of useful filters to help narrow down to the results you want, such as markets and performance. Now that you're a part of the community and have explored the site a little, I'm going to share the 3 main ways to invest on eToro with you. This is the simplest way to invest on eToro. Read Liam's story. When you copy someone, every trade they execute is simultaneously opened in your account too and then closed when they close it. It's all proportional to what % of your total account's funds you choose to allocate to them. More on this later. But ultimately you will achieve the same rate of return as they do. Finding reliable traders to copy on eToro isn't always as straightforward as it might appear. You need to know what to look for and what to stay clear of. More on this later on. Allow me to help you master the art of copy trading. Let me point out the numero uno mistake beginners make right away: being a sheep. When you venture into the Copy People section looking for a trader to copy, it's intuitive to sort by most copied and blindly copy the top results. You'd think that the most copied people have lots of copiers for a reason. Right. The wisdom of the crowd, perhaps. But the reality is that most people on eToro are complete beginners and don't really know what they are doing. If a few people copy a trader for the wrong reasons, that trader can quickly go viral, with exponentially more copiers following suit without thinking for themselves. Let me give you an example. Even though this trader has extremely poor performance, he would have lost 98% of your money over the last 5 months if you'd copied him. He still has close to 2,000 people copying him. Bizarrely, this happens quite a lot on eToro. So I'll be explaining the process I follow when copy trading. Having warned against consistently underperforming traders, the other big pitfall beginners fall into is overtrading. It's incredibly tempting to keep checking how much you've made or lost every few hours. But emotions will cloud your better judgment and lead to tinkering. No trader will ever profit every single week or month. So I highly recommend you take a medium, long-term approach. This requires patience and discipline, but you're more likely to see better gains over time. Past performance is not an indication of future results. Trading history presented as less than 5 complete years and may not suffice as basis for investment decision. This is not investment advice. Or you can use the advanced search feature. Everything in blue you can change to meet the criteria you're seeking in potential traders to copy. Hit go. For a list of matching traders, ordered by the number of copiers they have. To further drill down, use the filters at the top. Have low weekly and daily drawdowns, basically how much they've been down over a given period. Anything more than 10% should be a red flag. Don't have ridiculous returns. I know this may seem counterintuitive, but if you see someone with 1000% plus returns in a very short period of time, realize that this is unsustainable luck and can only be achieved by being reckless. Don't have a 100% win rate. It's perfectly normal to close some trades in the red. This is a sign of discipline and experience. Beginners chase their losses. Proper traders know when to cut loose. Are communicative. You want to copy someone who can help you learn and is willing to share their trading methodology. If they don't reply to your messages, they either don't care, likely to trade carelessly too, or they don't know how to answer because they don't have a clue what they're doing. I'll now walk you through assessing an individual trader before outlining the exact steps to copy a trader, so you can understand what to look for and how the process works. By clicking on the Stats tab in a trader's profile, you can access some very useful information to help determine whether they are worth copying or not. My eToro performance. Past performance is not an indication of future results. Trading history presented as less than 5 complete years and may not suffice as basis for investment decision. This is not investment advice. There are two other key things to look at here. The risk score indicates how risky a trader is, and the max drawdown shows the maximum a trader has been down in a single week during this period. Same idea for daily and yearly. It's interesting to compare current risk to past months to see how their strategy has evolved. Anything green shows a very safe, low risk, low return attitude. The spectrum then moves through yellow, orange, red, and black where the risk is highest. I personally steer clear of anyone with more than a 7, but it can be good to have a mix of traders with different styles. Copying itself is simple. Once you've found a trader who you feel is reliable, simply open their profile and click on the blue Copy button. You will then be prompted to enter an amount with which to copy that trader. And you'll see some useful information appears. Let's say you copy a trader with $200. Then, AVG. Copied trade size, leads us to how the copying actually works in real dollar terms. In the example above, each trade you copy would be, on average, $2.72. Proportionally, this is just 2.72% of the total, $5.44 out of the $200, of your total investment in them. In this case, it's a good sign as it shows a cautious and safe investment style. You can also set a stop loss, which is a means of protecting against heavy losses. Set at 40% by default. If the person you are copying loses 40% of your investment, your account automatically stops copying them. You can set this level to whatever you want, depending on how much risk you're prepared to take. Personally, I keep the number closer to 25%. This is the actual trading area and your nerve center. Here you can monitor all of your current open positions and close them, and also access a record of your trading history. All of your copied traders, and in fact any of your own investments, will be listed in your portfolio. You can see your overall return on the investment in a trader, and also click on the person to see what positions they, and you, currently have open, and how these are performing individually. Usefully, you're able to close individual copied trades without uncopying a trader altogether. It's worth noting that you can also just follow traders without copying or investing in them, so their updates show up in your watchlist and news feed. As with Twitter, it's a good way to gauge whether you think they're worth copying and tune into useful information. Once you've familiarized yourself with the eToro platform and, hopefully, had some success copying other people, you can start thinking about placing your own trades. Focusing your energies on the stock markets gets you used to the platform and the whole process of opening and closing positions without too much pressure. You probably have a fair amount of existing consumer knowledge here too. Well, that's up to you, partner. I cannot offer specific investment advice. All I will say is that it pays dividends to do your homework. Read the news frequently and listen to earning announcements. Only invest in stocks or companies that you believe are in a strong and healthy position to resist market shocks, and ultimately have room to grow. If you're really serious, you might also want to read up on the price-earnings ratio to identify undervalued, overpriced stock. Click on Trade Markets, then Stocks, then Industry. Choose an industry, for example, consumer goods. You will then be presented with a list of all consumer goods stocks tradable on eToro, along with their respective prices and change over the past day. Let's pretend we want to buy some Apple stock, say $50 worth. Click on AAPL. This is the ticker used for Apple on the stock exchange, and you will first see the feed. This displays all the latest news and insightful discussions surrounding the Apple share price and the company's activity in general. Click Chart to display a chart showing the company's stock prices over the last year. You're able to change the period shown by zooming in and out. If you want to invest in Apple, on the basis that you believe the share price will rise over the medium, long term, click on Trade in the top right corner. The minimum amount to trade is $50. Below this you can set the amounts at which you automatically want to close the trade, for both loss and profit. Finally, take note of the leverage figure. The number refers to how much you can multiply your gains and losses by. The higher the number equals higher risk. X1 is essentially buying the real stock. If you trade it at X2, any price movement is magnified by 2 doubles. Usually it's automatically on X5, so for beginners I'd suggest clicking on the number and reducing it to X1. If you click on the Apple stock, you can see more info. In my case below, I bought $400 worth in September, and it shows I'm currently up 3.94% on this trade, which translates to plus $15.75. This is the amount I would profit if I decided to sell these stocks. Close my position right now by clicking on the close button, red X. As I warned earlier, do not fall into the trap of checking the real-time performance of your trades every hour. This just leads to overtrading, which again, is very costly. I've had to develop the discipline to let the markets take their course, and be confident that over the longer term the value of my portfolio will rise, which it has. It's a strategy that has served me well and means I don't make rash, spontaneous decisions just because a company released some bad news and the market overreacted in the short term. Only once you really feel like you know what you're doing on eToro, i.e., been actively trading for a few months, should you even consider trading indices, currencies, forex, and commodities. There is much more risk involved in these markets compared to stocks. So I'm only going to briefly cover these to the extent that you know what you're doing. Let's work through an example of how to buy your USD currency market. First we click on Trade Markets, then Currencies. Then scroll down to find EUR/USD. You can see the sell price and the buy price. We want to buy, so are going to click on the B box to launch the order window. Make sure the drop down is set to Order rather than Trade. Simply the amount of money you are investing in this trade. The equivalent amount of units will be shown. $90 in this case at X100 leverage equals 9,000 units. This is a financial concept, see Wikipedia for an explanation. All you really need to know is that the number in the box tells you how much you are effectively able to multiply your gains and losses by. The higher the number equals higher risk. If you were actually buying real, hard currency, this would effectively be X1, as any fluctuation in the exchange rate would equate almost exactly to your gains, losses. In this case, however, if you made the same trade on eToro at X2, any movement in the exchange rate magnifies your gain, loss by 2 doubles. I personally would recommend reducing your risk level as low as possible. A bottom price limit you can set to avoid you being hit too heavily by a plummeting price on a position. If the price happens to get this low, eToro will automatically sell, close your position to cut, rather than chase your losses. In our EUR/USD example above, our position will be closed when the value has dropped the equivalent of $45. This stop loss is displayed as the red line in the EUR/USD chart below. Conversely, you can also set a price which will also trigger eToro to sell, close your position, but when you've made the return you were after. In our EUR/USD example above, our position will also be closed when the value has risen the equivalent of $45. This program acts an incentive for users to trade responsibly and be an active part of the community. As soon as you start performing well on eToro, you'll notice other people will start copying you. This is a really rewarding and exciting moment, allowing you to earn monthly commission as your copiers increase. It can take some time to build up your copier numbers, but it really isn't that hard to achieve so long as you make consistent, solid trades. Following my advice in this guide, it also pays to be active in the community, posting regular updates, getting involved in discussions, and answering other people's questions all help get your name out there to attract interest. Just like any company, eToro exists to make money from providing a service. Primarily they do this by charging users a small spread fee on positions, outlined on the order windows. There is 0% commission though, so the costs of trading here are far less, up to 20x, than traditional stockbrokers and fund managers. Trading stocks typically have the lowest fees on eToro, which is one reason why I recommend you stick to this market when starting out. The spread is the small difference between the buy and sell price that all brokers offer. This is how they make their money, same as a bureau de change, and similar in magnitude to the markup for stocks. You will be charged this when you close a position. One way to minimize the spread fees is not to overtrade. And it's also worth mentioning that if you become a popular investor, see above, you can get a partial or even total rebate on these fees. It really comes down to individual trading strategies and preference. But to give you an idea, I tend to hold on to stocks for a minimum of 6 months, and all other trades tend to have an average duration of about 2-3 weeks. When copying another user, you'll be charged the same fees as they are on trades, which may not always be stocks. So it's worth checking your portfolio to see what positions they have opened. The only other fee you will encounter on eToro is the withdrawal fee, flat $5, if you want to transfer funds out of your account. I've gone through a lot over the course of this guide and covered up plenty of pitfalls along the way. High five for making it this far. This is a point that I want to expand on a little more, specifically in relation to copying other traders. Below is a screenshot of my equity chart over 6 months. The red line shows the number of people copying me. As you can see, copiers tend to flood in when my total equity, blue line, peaks and leave when my gains fall. To the lay person it seems like rational behavior. But actually it's a clear sign of knee-jerk reactions without considering that the overall long-term trend is upward. Even the best traders in the world will have some fluctuations. But most copiers lose money by copying at the peaks and stop copying shortly after because they're down a few dollars. In my case, if these people had stuck with me for the longer term, as I recommend throughout the guide, they would have been much better off. Despite short-term market crashes, the trend over the long term is up. Why? Because all the companies in any stock market are constantly striving to create value. If you have used this guide and found it helpful, I'd be very grateful if you can share it with your friends. Slightly smiling face. Disclaimer: eToro is a multi-asset platform which offers both investing in stocks and cryptoassets, as well as trading CFD assets. Please note that CFDs are complex instruments and come with a high risk of losing money rapidly due to leverage. 75% of retail investor accounts lose money when trading CFDs with this provider. You should consider whether you understand how CFDs work, and whether you can afford to take the high risk of losing your money. Cryptoassets are volatile instruments which can fluctuate widely in a very short time frame and therefore are not appropriate for all investors. Other than via CFDs, trading cryptoassets is unregulated and therefore is not supervised by any EU regulatory framework. This guide is intended for educational purposes only and should not be considered as investment advice. The author and publisher are not liable for any losses or damages you may incur as a result of you following the advice given on this page. The eToro.com layout and content may change since this content was published. So, I've been looking at eToro this morning and see that either the minimum amounts have changed a lot or I'm doing something wrong. I can also see that most posts on this forum are fairly old. So, a couple of cues. 3. Do you still recommend the website? I gained quite well from your matched betting guide and would like your opinion on this. You only pay on gains when you withdraw, and it's likely that these will be in relation to capital gains tax, which you also have an allowance for. I'd suggest looking more into this on the Gov website. Nice article. Really interested but still a few questions. Firstly, what is the significance of the colored stars and ticked rosettes by each trader's photo? Thank you for this guide. I have been considering this for a while but felt I didn't have the knowledge to do so. Of course I still don't. But knowing a good place to start has really helped. To clarify, the safest option is to play in demo mode until fluent with the site. Then copy until confident with the trades. And then go solo. Also, you mentioned making sure you do the research on stocks before buying in. How do you recommend to this? It's this in action in eToro or self-research? You're welcome. Slightly smiling face. You can start with the demo version till you get an understanding. And then when you're comfortable, copy a couple of traders, never just one, based on the advice in this guide. So when you are copying a trader, is your money divided evenly into each and every trade she does from the minute you start copying? And once they sell certain shares, stocks, or the profits or losses automatically updated into your depository account? Is there an option, whilst copying, to withdraw profits from certain shares, stocks, or is everything controlled by the person you copy? Also, what's your account name on eToro? I like your advice. Yeah, basically, if you put $100 to copy another trader, that's divided up across all their investments proportionally, and every trade, buy, sell after that is also matched so that the $100 is equivalent to their total investment. I believe you can choose to take over individual parts of your copied portfolio. Slightly smiling face. Really useful article, thanks. I would like to know one thing before I start though. Is it possible to lose more than your deposit? So if I deposit $500 and it all goes wrong, I could end up be liable to pay even more than that. If so, can you please explain how this happens? Thanks. Hi George, very many thanks for the useful guide. Much appreciated. You have yourself one new copier. I want to play virtual mode eToro to familiar and get myself ready before I really go deep and invest in actual mode. I also want to run this virtual mode more closely with actual, which I propose. Is copy trader available in this mode? Could you share and give example the steps using virtual mode? Compare with actual. Let me see if I am correct. If you copy a trader or a stock where they are making profits, you get profits too. Hey, I've read a lot of reviews online about people struggling to withdraw money and eToro being a scam effectively. Have you had any of these problems? Have you withdrawn money and it been fine? Hi Tom. Thank you for your comment. Yes, I have withdrawn money several times and it's always been absolutely fine. If you are still concerned, I would recommend you sign up in demo mode, using Play Money, and ask other users if they have experienced any difficulties withdrawing. I'm sure they will give you some peace of mind. I've been on eToro for quite some time now and I've never heard of anyone having difficulty withdrawing. Large financial institutions such as eToro are heavily regulated by the FSA and many other regulatory bodies. So there is really no need for you to worry. Your money is safe. Hi George. Thanks for your reply. I just wanted to check with someone who I know has experience using the site rather than trusting some random reviews online. Hi Tom. I like your cautious approach. I'm sure it will serve you well in the markets. Slightly smiling face. Thanks for the positive feedback. Don't hesitate to drop me a message on eToro if you ever need a second opinion. Hey, I tried copying someone without any money in my account, and it gave me an option for virtual money. How does that work? Disclaimer, all content on this website is based on individual experience and journalistic research. It does not constitute financial advice. Save the Student and its authors are not liable for how tips are used, nor for content and services on external websites. Common sense should never be neglected. We sometimes use affiliated links which may result in a payment following a visitor taking action, such as a purchase or registration, on an external website. This helps keep Save the Student free. The user experience shouldn't be any different. And our editorial decision making is not affected by such links. Like most sites, we use cookies to optimize your experience and serve personalized content. By using our website, you agree to our use of cookies. More info. Text source, savethestudent.org.